All right, so we're making another video with Mr. Andy, and we're gonna go over how hard it is to get a good job in Korea. Okay, so first, tell us about where you work at.
Yeah.
Okay. Oh yeah, first tell us where do you work at?
Yeah, I'm working for a major bank in Korea, and yeah, I just got into the company and it's been like only 1 year, so I got an experience in kind of I know how hard it is to get a job in Korea, how hard it is to find a proper job for you, and as much as possible, I would like to give you a lot of information on it, and also to find your aptitude, the way to find your aptitude, and what kind of job you should pick, like that way, like
Okay.
that. Yeah.
Now, in your case, first give us a little bit about your education background.
Okay. I graduated from a university in Seoul, which was
Top
quite
10 university.
yeah, it was quite prestigious, but it was not that really good university. Yeah, like Yonsei or Korea or Seoul National University. I didn't go to that school, but anyway, my university was quite good, and
Still a top 10 school in Korea.
yeah, and the students back in the campus, they are also very competent people and very qualified for all the jobs in my point of view. Because at the time I felt like I'm the kind of at the bottom. I always at the bottom in the class. Yeah, especially when I was freshman. Freshman. Yeah, after finishing my services, I just studied harder and harder and harder to reach where I want to be. Yeah.
Okay, so you went to a top 10 university, you graduated, you had good grades, okay? And how hard was it? First, tell us how many jobs you applied to, how many interviews you went. Tell us how hard it was to finally land a job that you wanted.
So I started applying for jobs like in the second half of the 2018, and at the time I applied for at least 10 companies, but every company rejected me. And next year after graduating from the university, I should keep applying for jobs or tons of jobs. Like total companies that I have applied for so far was like 20 companies, and for final interview I had final interviews with 10 companies, and only kind of 4 or 3 companies picked me up. So the current company that I'm working for currently was my lifesaver. So I'm always loyal to my company.
Okay, so you heard he applied
Yeah.
over 20?
Yeah, over 10 is.
Yeah,
Yeah.
over 20 different companies. Remember, top 10 university had good grades, okay? And he even had working experience before graduating. Okay? He worked at Culture.
Yeah, internship.
So he had an internship, okay? He had good experience. And so, in your opinion, you still have a lot of students who graduate from top 10 universities in Korea. How hard is it for them to find a good job in Korea?
Wow, it's really hard. Like, really hard, because it could be kind of stereotype of mine or not. But anyway, if you are between jobs, you would prefer big companies, right? Like Samsung, LG, Lotte, and so on, to small or middle-sized companies, because they are showing more salaries and longer job stability and other social kind of welfare system.
That's right.
For that, I think people are preferring to working in big companies, and job occupancies are very limited. That's why it's really hard to get into proper companies that you would work for. And also, a lot of people in Korea, especially in liberal arts, right?
Yeah, liberal arts.
They usually kind of go to the business school and learn about business. Like all together like in business part, like business area, like marketing and accounting and so on. And for marketing nowadays, not that many people is needed in that job occupancy.
In that market,
Yeah, in the
in
market.
that industry.
So I think that's why it's really hard. And also Korea is kind of well, it is still developing country.
It is. It's still an emerging market.
Yeah, it is still emerging market, but at the same time, the Korean economy is getting stagnant with this current situation. Economic recession is coming up, and all the companies are hesitant to hire more people rather than that they want to kind of get equipped with the kind of automatic system, right?
That's right.
Yeah. So that's why it is really hard to find a job in Korea.
Then, okay. How about you explain to them? Now, you work at a bank. That's a novelty job. All right. That's a safe job. You start out with a high salary. You have job safety. You can work there till you retire, or they kick you out when you're like 60 something. All the companies will kick you out when you're 60. They just get out, you're old.
Yeah.
But now, however, why don't you explain what would qualify a person,
Yeah.
okay, to
Generally.
yeah, what would a person generally have to do? How hard they have to study at high school, to how hard they have to study at university, the type of university they have to go through, all that, maybe how many hours, how hard they have to study in high school just from the get-go.
Yeah.
And then when they graduate, all the things they have to do in university, what other clubs they have to join or who they have to meet up with, you know, just to get them in a decent, eligible condition to be hired by a company.
Well, just think about the shoe of the company. The company is going to evaluate you guys in a very short term, and they want to kind of, if you can leave a very good impression on them, you will be picked up. You'll be picked up by the company, right? So you should make yourself very conspicuous. So there are a lot of preparation is necessary. Like, let me say that if you think your strength is the foreign language, then you should make the chance to show how proficient your English is. Like in an interview, like even though the interviewer asks you a question in Korean, then you can just kind of reply to him or her back in English like that. For that also, like, and also probably at least you gotta have a experience in other countries, like right, overseas countries.
Imagine you need some experience living overseas.
Yeah.
Like companies will look at that and say,
Yeah.
"Oh, you have some overseas experience," and that's like a additional plus on helping you get a job. Like Mr. Andy said, you have to be an expert or show that you're very proficient at what your specialty is. Then, from high school to university,
Yeah.
like, you know, how hard do these high school kids have to study? And what test scores do they need to get, you know, from the Sunung, the Korean SAT?
Yeah.
Like, how is that process?
Wow, it's very complicated. There are kind of main two ways to get into the university. One is with just one test, which is with big exams, so-called Sunung in Korean. It was just the Korean essay, SAT, right?
Yeah,
SAT.
Korean SAT.
Yeah, you should kind of get the score. At the time, in my case, it was like really hard to get into a university in Seoul. Like you should get the score at least. I don't know I don't remember the
Right.
score of the aggregation of all the subjects, but at least you should 95%.
95%.
Yeah, scores out of the test.
Okay, you need a 95%, and those are what the major subjects.
Yeah, major subjects, and also
Core
you can be
subjects.
evaluated with the nation. Nation it means like, if while you're going to the high school, then you're gonna get through all the middle term and the final term each semester, right?
Yeah, your semester exams, quarter.
And there will be kind of what's that average score out of it.
score. Your GPA is
Yeah,
probably the
GPA. Yeah,
version.
GPA. With the GPA, the university people like they're gonna decide to pick you up or not.
Right. So imagine like in America, the SAT is 1600.
Mm.
To get into, imagine you need to get 95% out of 1600 to get into the top universities in Korea. Nobody will get into a top university in America if it was under those kind of, in a circumstance like that. But in Korea, you have guys that are getting 95% of the max score out of their SATs just to get into a university in Seoul, because those are where the best universities are at. So, you know, already if you enter a university in Seoul, you're basically like you're an elite high school student. And then on top of being an elite high school student, tell us what kind of conditions you have to leave as a university student to make you eligible to get into a good company.
Yeah. Like, of course, GPA is always necessary. To get such a high GPA is always necessary. With that high GPA, you can be also get some benefits from the university itself. Like when if you want to improve your English more, then you're going to want to have a experience as an exchange student program, right?
Yeah.
In my case, I went to the US for my exchange student program for just one semester, and especially it is really hard and it's very competitive to go to the university. I mean, a US because everyone knows that it is kind of the best environment to improve your English because you're gonna be surrounded by the local people and there'll be no chance to speak in Korean. So it is kind of the optimist, right? Optimist.
You are basically like you can't get you're maximizing your environment and surroundings to enhance your English because you're surrounded by nothing but English. You're gonna eat, breathe, sleep English.
Yeah. So with that exchange student program, you're gonna improve your English and you're gonna take a test called TOEIC or TOEFL and TOEIC speaking test, whatever it is, which can prove your English proficiency. So you should prepare for it either, and those are necessary. It is necessary. It is not optional. It is necessary, compulsory for every company in Korea. And also you should join a club, which can help you. In my case, I had an experience in an acting club, because at the time when I was freshman, I was really introverted and I was always shaking my hands whenever I need to kind of make a speech in front of a lot of people and audiences, and I just kind of put all the experience into my resume that with the acting club experience, I was able to get over that difficulties in my life. So whatever it is, I think what kind of activity you are going to have is not that important, but how it has an influences on your life would be really important, like in my case. Yeah.
So once again, you gotta be an elite high school student. So imagine how hard you have to study. Then you have to go into at least a university in Seoul. Now, Mr. Andy's case, he went to a top 10 university in Seoul. So,
So
you have to have overseas experience as an added bonus. Join certain clubs to make yourself look good on your resume. And companies in Korea, they actually look at your university GPA, like your score. What did you score in certain classes or what courses? So you got to keep your grades up even at university, at top universities. That's no easy task. And then after going through all that, out of 100 graduates in the same situation as you, what do you think is the percentage rate of them landing a job at a good company?
Only 10%.
10%.
Yeah, 10%. Yeah, but
10%.
yeah, but I think I need to make a comment on the prestigious university. It doesn't mean that we do not mean that if you went to the university in not in Seoul, what is
right,
that?
you can still get hired at
yeah.
these companies.
Also,
They
the
have
university you're going to is very prestigious. We know that, but mostly, generally in Korea, kind of universities in Seoul is regarded as a very good university. So that's why we're talking about it. And So yeah, it is very competitive. Only 10% of the out of graduates can get a job they really want, and they're gonna land. And even in that 10%, they're gonna kind of keep trying to apply for the better companies.
while they're
Yeah.
working there.
Yeah.
Also, how long does it normally take for an elite student to even land a job after they graduate from university?
On the average,
Yeah.
I think 1 or 2 years.
So it takes, imagine this. You're an elite high school student, okay? You get 95% out of 1600 on your SAT if you're living in the States, but Korean student. You go to university in Seoul. You're an elite university student. You studied your butt off to keep your GPA up because you know the companies are going to actually check your grades at university. And then, even after all that, it's going to take you up to a year or two to land a job at a good company. And after a year or two, out of 100, you still have just a 10% chance, of getting a job at one of these top companies. Okay, that's how hard you have to work.
Yeah.
Okay, so if you're living in Korea, part of this reason is, a lot of people, once again, they're like, oh, how come these people are working there and I can't work there? Or why are these people successful and I'm not? Or why do these people have this and I don't? The point of making this video is to tell you what they go through. Okay, I didn't even work out. I didn't. So that's what it takes just to land a job. Okay, and another thing about this video is to help people put themselves in a situation for them to be successful. Because I think a lot of people right now, especially around the world, whether you live in Korea or around the world, that I've seen, whether they're my friends or people I don't know, is they're complaining about the level of success of other people and not so satisfied with the level of success that they have in their own lives. And the thing is, they know the type of success that they want. However, a lot of people don't know how to get there, right? I want to achieve that, but I just don't know how to do it. So a lot of the videos that I want to make, especially like when it comes to stuff like this, is to actually show people or tell people how to get to that level. Okay, and maybe for some of you it's a bit late, or because you're not going to study like that and you're too old for that, but you have children, you better explain to your children what it takes.
Yeah.
Okay, this is what it takes for your kids in the future to be, at least even get a good job. And just because you have a good job doesn't mean you're successful. You could screw it up in the other areas of your life, just you're successful in your working career. So how about, what are some things you can, because we got a couple minutes left, what are some things you can do during job interviews to make yourself look better to the interviewers?
Of course, you got a kind of a proper reason why you keep talking about how qualified you are to that job and you're very suitable for the job. So I think the most important element will be kind of making a connection with your past experience and with the job you are applying for. Like, let me say that in my case as a banker, our main job is kind of selling the financial products to customer. So we should be very, not very, but it's not mandatory, but it'll be much more kind of advantageous for us to get a job, like to be more outgoing and also very friendly to people and always making a good impression on people. So I just kind of I made use of my past experience in the acting club, like with that experience, like I just told them, like with through that experience I was able to get over my life difficulties, and like that I'll be very outgoing in front of my audiences. I'll be very confident in explaining about our good, which is our financial products to people. That way I think I can make a very good job performances in the company. So that's why I'm really suitable and qualified for this job that way. So just make a good experience and connected it to the job. So I think that is the most important thing.
Okay, so just like that, all right, Mr. Andy explained that one of his weaknesses in the profession that he's in now is that he's an introvert, he's shy. However, he joined clubs to overcome his fear of maybe speaking in public or being more outgoing. And now that he's overcome that, and he's been able to show it and prove that he has overcome that in a field where communication is key, where selling, giving direct messages, directly speaking to clients about products is the key foundation of the job if you want to sell products. What Mr. Andy has done is, in his private life, in his personal life, he joined clubs or he did things to overcome weaknesses that would prevent him from getting jobs.
Uh-huh.
So if you're out there and you're like, well, I want this job, I want this, I want that, you need to join clubs, or you need to take courses, you need to do something to help you overcome your weaknesses.
Oh yeah, that's very important.
Right? That's very important. And even if it means you have to go back to school, even if it means you have to take get another certification, even if it means you have to study for another year or two, you have to do it in order for you to make yourself eligible to get the job that you want. Because you can wait and cry and whine for 5 years and you're still not going to be eligible for that job and they won't hire you. You got to put yourself in that position.
Yeah.
Okay? And you live in the States or another country and you don't live in Korea, this is how hard it is in Korea just to get a good job. Once again, elite students in high school go to universities in Seoul. And even if you graduate from a top 10 elite university in Seoul, it'll still take you a year or two to land a job. And even then, you still have a 10% chance of getting a job at a good company. That's how hard it is here. It's not easy. It's not easy. And wherever you live is not that far off in terms of how hard it is to get a job that other people want. It's not easy. So you got to work for it. Okay? He just told you he went overseas to another country. Another country, joined clubs to overcome whatever weaknesses he had.
Yeah.
All right? You got to do the same. I don't care how old you are, but you have to do that in order to put yourself in a position where a company would want to hire you. Or you're going to be where you're at till you go to heaven or hell. Anyway.
In addition, I think the quantity of the efforts you make would always kind of pay off.
It'll pay off.
Yeah, it will pay off, and just put more and extra efforts to it, and you can achieve whatever you want.
That's right. That's why even I'm almost 40 now, and I'm still studying to get my master's degree because I want to put myself in that position. Right? I don't want to do it. I have no choice.
Put yourself in an uncomfortable situation.
That's right. That's what makes you stronger. You got to be in an uncomfortable situation. All right. I hope this helps. Okay. Till next time. See y'all later.